Hello, everyone, and welcome to our personal branding workshop for the College of Education. Just a couple things before we get started. So this meeting is being recorded. A copy of the slides and any of the material that you see today will be sent in a follow-up email to anyone who registered for the session. So if at any time you have any questions during the session for my folks tuning in live, feel free to utilize the chat feature if you would like. Or if you're watching the replay and you do have questions, feel free to email me. I'm happy to connect with you privately. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. If this is your first time interacting with USU Career and Alumni Services, hi, my name is Logann Todd. I am the manager for Career and Alumni Services here at USU. My job is really to help you feel prepared with what's next. So whether that's job searching, updating your resume, cover letter materials for applications, helping you through interviewing, anything that comes with career is under my umbrella. So if at any time you have questions outside of what we're going to talk about today, you are always welcome to schedule an appointment with me using the Calendly link, and I'll make sure that that is in my follow-up email as well. So jumping right in here, talking about personal branding, the last workshop that I hosted was all about your teacher portfolio or your educator portfolio. So if you missed that workshop and you would like me to send you the recording, let me know. I'm happy to send that follow-up email and the resources that I shared as well. So that is one of the components of your personal brand and how you can develop it. But there's so many other places that we're going to walk through today. So online, of course, we probably immediately think about that. So LinkedIn is a great place to start working on your personal brand, and other social media as well, especially in the education space. Some other areas we might not think about are actually our emails and our voicemail on our phone, which I know is a little silly, but we're going to talk about why that is. And then the last one we'll briefly talk about is in person and then in the classroom if you are in the teacher credentialing program or the Master's of Arts in Teaching. So jumping into LinkedIn here, your headshot photo or the first picture that someone sees does tell a really strong impression and really gives the person an idea of who you are. So we want to make sure that it is a really great, solid picture of us. It looks like this. It's still is easily recognizable, but it's also showcasing our professional self. So professional headshots can be really costly. If you are an educator, of course, every year they take your yearbook photo, so you can always get a beautiful picture. But if you're looking for something a little bit more cost effective and looking for a nice option to get a free headshot, I do recommend pfpmaker.com. I will put that link in the chat for you. You can upload any selfie, any picture, and what it will do is remove that background so you get a really nice professional looking photo. And as I said, this can be a selfie. You can have someone take it. You know, you have probably tons on your camera roll, so you can upload a photo and replace that background with a bunch of options. You can even choose from different color schemes, different patterns. There's even an office setting, which is kind of cool. So you really have the option to kind of explore and make it a really nice picture. Where to use this? You can use it in your email picture. You can use it on LinkedIn. If you have business cards, you can pop it on there. But this is a great thing to have on hand if you need it. Other things we can do for personal branding on LinkedIn is with our cover images. So same thing like we have on other social media, like Facebook, for example, we have that cover photo. This is also telling a lot about who you are, or it is a space where you can tell a lot about who you are. So you can see here, these are actually 3 USU alumni, so that have graduated from our program. So Meredith, Sujana, and Amani. And you can see they're all very different. They have great headshot photos. I can see them. And then they have some different varying cover photos. Now, you are welcome to choose whatever you want because it's your profile, but really showcase something that makes sense. So obviously, you know, we can see from their headline here too exactly what they do. So high school social studies, we have multiple subject teacher. And then Meredith obviously has a little bit more in here, but choose something that makes sense for the career that you're going into or something that you're really passionate about as well. You can use canva.com to create your own. I'm sure most of you know about Canva, but Canva is a free tool. There is a paid version, but it is really low cost. It is very beginner graphic design software, but they have a lot of templates to choose from. So if you were to go on there, type in LinkedIn banner or a LinkedIn cover photo, there's tons of options in there as well. Talked about that headline here, and so that headline is really a great place for you to start branding yourself and who you are. Now, yes, we of course want to put, whatever subject we wanted to be teaching or whatever we are going into as a career, but I want you to think a little bit beyond that. This is a space for you to connect with your industry specifically by highlighting key skills and keywords and resources. So my kind of secret formula here for this section is to start off with your current job title or what you're currently doing or what you want to be doing. Hopefully that makes sense. So if you're in school, you're a teacher credential candidate, you're going to put that, teacher candidate. If you are aspiring to go into a different field, I want you to put that as well. Then we want to go in and add a little bit more industry specific keywords, right? So for education, these might be specific softwares, or maybe you're an expert in a particular area or study or field. And then after that, we can put some skills and specific keywords that when you're looking at a job description, what would they put in that teacher job description, or what would they put in that educator job description? That's what I want you to think about when you're filling this out. Where does this come into play is when a recruiter is looking for you. So if you are looking for a new job, or you're in the process of looking for a job, or you're in the process of applying to jobs, recruiters can find you using this information. So if they're looking for a 6th grade science teacher, I want you, if you are looking for a 6th grade science teacher position, to put that in your headline. Then you'll be easily identifiable by these recruiters. Now, of course, in California, EDJoin is the most popular tool for job searching, but recruiters are looking on LinkedIn as well. So definitely keep this in mind as you further your brand. Else to think about is your educator philosophy. Why do you care about being an educator? So I put together this really quick worksheet that you can work through. I will put this link in the chat. Now, as I said, this is really to help you hone in on what your personal brand is. So really think about your why. So what are some things that really inspired you to become an educator or a teacher? What does your different classroom management style look like? What does collaboration look like for you? What type of instruction do you do well? And then in terms of assessment, how do you make sure that the information you're giving is being understood? So all of these components really help define who you are as an educator, but this is also really good practice when it comes later on in the process when you go to interview. So they might ask you, what does your classroom management style look like, right? You've already filled out this document, you know who you are in terms of classroom management. Same thing with assessment. They're going to say, how do you assess curriculum in the classroom? You already know how to answer that. And so this worksheet is really impactful, not just for interviewing, but also just helping you learn more about yourself and understand your strengths, your why, and give you that sense of purpose and motivation to continue doing what you love. So I always like to throw this one in there. Definitely bookmark this, download it, add it to your teacher portfolio if you want as well. So we just talked a lot about LinkedIn and your personal teaching philosophy, but now we're going to talk about some other social media options. So because, of course, our students and those that we teach are all on social media, we as educators really should be on there as well. However deep you choose to go is up to you, but we should definitely have some knowledge of this or recognition, understanding of these platforms. So some different ways you could build your online presence and your brand is through a teacher portfolio website, or having some type of landing page for students to find you, or maybe you post updates here, right? Just some way for you to kind of stay connected. You can also consider a YouTube channel, right? Sharing educational images or videos, graphics, informational content to students, but also the public. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, Pinterest, TikTok profiles, all of these are great options as well. Again, it's up to you, your preference, and your experience level with them. Something kind of emerging too is teacher podcasts. So sharing with other teachers your methods and methodologies and successes, or maybe some learning experiences that you've had. But this is a great way to kind of engage elsewhere, but still be online. I did link a bunch of resources here. So some different Instagram accounts you can follow, Snapchat 101 for teachers. How do you make a teacher's Pinterest page? Do people even use Pinterest anymore, right? education podcasts, top TikTok teachers. So just some things for you to do a little bit more research to see which one might be good for you if you're considering any of these options. And so once you get the follow-up with the slides, you'll be able to click all of these links and it will actually take you there. The reason I'm bringing up social media is because we want to understand what digital wellness is for ourselves. So we always probably talk to our students about, what we put online is accessible to everybody, but we also need to consider that for ourselves too. We wouldn't want our students to find us online and see something that we don't want them to see. So it's good to do digital wellness checkups on ourselves as well. So I want you to Google yourself and I want you to really see what comes up. And are you happy with that? Are you okay if an employer found this online? You can also, each of your profiles online have an option to view your profile as a stranger or view as a friend, right? So I encourage you to do that as well and see what the public can see on your social media because it is a little bit of a different view than what you would see. And if there is anything unwanted on there or things that you just really would not want an employer to see, I want you to go about trying to delete that or clean it up a little bit and really showcase who our best self is online. So I have some tips here for rated R social media. And so it's not like a rated R movie. These are just things that to think about related to the letter R. So do you have the right to share this? So before we post something, think about, do we have the right to share this? Is this the right thing to do, what I'm trying to share? If this post were to go viral, am I willing to take the responsibility for it? I think with the emergence of TikTok, this has become a lot bigger of an issue with educators, right? Students are finding their teachers online on TikTok. So if it does become viral and your students were to see this video, would you be okay with that? And will you regret it tomorrow, right? So sometimes when we're in the heat of the moment, we might want to share something online because we're angry, upset, we have different feelings about something, but then in the morning we might regret it and we wish that we didn't do that. But sometimes it's too late and that's already gone viral. Really valuing that risk versus reward. So is that 15 minutes of fame worth it to put this information out there? Is it worth it for potentially risking losing your job, right? Really kind of valuing both of those. And then are you ready for that battle afterwards? So whether it's social, emotional, verbal, legal battle, whatever it comes with, are you prepared to deal with those repercussions afterwards? So I always like to bring this up before you post something online, before we post anything anywhere, we want to keep these R items in mind. So that's my information about online. Now, I mentioned email and phone voicemail as personal branding ideas. Now, I know it's a little silly to be thinking about these things as personal branding, but it really does give a little bit more about us in when we send emails with parents, with students, with other faculty, with administrators, right? We want to showcase who we are. So some really small things that we can do, one of those options is our email signature. So when we send the email, it's usually at the bottom where we sign after our name, has our contact information. You have the ability to personalize this a little bit. So consider creating a really fun email signature, maybe include your photo or a Bitmoji or something related to education. Like I said, you really have the power here to create something beautiful. And there's so many different templates and examples online that you can get ideas from to choose something that makes sense for you and really represents yourself. Moving on to phone voicemail. I know it's a little silly, but think about if an employer called you and they were trying to leave a voicemail. You probably haven't changed your voicemail message in quite a while. Does it still sound like you? Is it representative of who you are now? Is it professional, right? Can the employer even leave a voicemail? Because sometimes we don't go through and delete our voicemail, so our voicemail box will be full. That employer is trying to offer you a job, and if they can't leave you a voicemail, that's a problem. So go through. I want you to create a new professional voicemail message, and I want you to delete any old voicemails. And I do have a sample script here that you could use that's pretty professional. And it also allows a little bit of flexibility here in how you say it or what you say. So lastly, here we're talking about in person and in the classroom. So this is specifically for my educators. What does your classroom say about you? So I know it's very exciting when we get a new classroom and we start decorating and making it look very fun and vibrant, but what does it tell other people? Is it also reflecting your teaching style, right? So who you are as a teacher. How does it make others feel when they walk into the room? And is it a safe space for everyone, not just for you, because of course we decorate our rooms for ourselves, but we also decorate it for our students. But is it an actual safe space for everybody to come into that room and be excited, be happy to be there? And then when we think about our personal selves, our attire, and our appearance, what does that say about us? Now, of course, we want to take out any bias here because I know that can kind of factor in, but what you wear and how you appear in the classroom can make a big impact on those that are around you. So this is a great space for you to communicate your personality and values, but also humanize the experience. So if you come into a classroom wearing full business attire, your students are probably going to be really intimidated to speak to you, right? But if you're wearing something a little bit more casual, but still professional, your students might feel more connected to you or be more willing to communicate with you. And so what you wear does matter, but also considering cultural awareness. So being sensitive and inclusive to other people in the classroom or other people who work in the same place as you, not only showing respect, but considering those different perspectives. So a good example is if you were to celebrate Christmas, but there's students in your classroom who celebrate Hanukkah, right? If you're wearing Christmas attire, maybe we're not considering the other perspectives in the room. So that's just another example of that in person versus in the classroom and how that can reflect your personal brand and how it does matter. Those little things that we go about in our daily life, but do make an impact with those that we interact with. Final tips here for success as we wrap up. You have a lot of resources in your toolkit around you to help you develop your personal brand. So LinkedIn obviously is a great place to start, but also think about other social media. I want you to Google yourself. I want you to do a digital wellness checkup. What is out there in the world? What can employers see? What can our students see? Are you happy with that, or do we need to do a little bit of a cleanse here? I think the key piece in this entire presentation is really to reflect your authentic self. Your authentic self is your true self, and that's the best version of you and your personal brand. And so I want you to do the best job that you can to represent that everywhere that you go, but also online. So personal branding, of course, takes time. It's not something you can do overnight. So if you have questions, if you want a formal critique, meaning I kind of chat with you about some strategies you can use to help build your personal brand as an educator, let me know. I'm always happy to share ideas or kind of connect with you to figure out how we can work on it together. So that wraps up the presentation today. I'm going to put a bunch of links in the chat here. The first is my email. You are welcome to email me anytime. The second is the link to book a career services appointment. Now, of course, today we talked about personal branding, but if you want to talk about your educator portfolio, talk about LinkedIn, resume, cover letter writing, you're welcome to schedule an appointment with me and we can chat one-on-one. And then the career resources website has tons of really excellent resources for you that are available on demand. So that means at 3 a.m., if you want to work on your resume, there are templates on there for you to download and work on. The last link that I'll put in the chat is the presentation feedback form. So if you have any questions, concerns, anything at all, if you enjoyed today's presentation, totally let me know. If you had questions or you wish that I talk about something a little bit more, or if you have other topics for ideas of content, definitely let me know that as well. You can put all of that in the feedback form. But otherwise, I hope this was helpful for you. If you missed it or if you joined late, definitely catch the recording in your email. But otherwise, happy Halloween. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week and we'll be in touch soon. All right, take care, everybody.